Hey everyone, welcome to my channel and thanks for tuning into my first video. So throughout this season on this YouTube channel I plan to document my AFL fantasy team week by week, reviewing my scores from each round, talking through my trades and my reasons behind them each week, sharing my thoughts, ideas, strategies, and just writing the highs and lows that is an AFL fantasy season and sharing my experiences with you all. In terms of my background with fantasy footy, I've been playing pretty much as long as I can remember. My best result came back in 2015 when I was a bit of a youngster. I finished in the top 200 that year, which was a pretty big thrill at the time. But since then, I've kind of had a few up and down seasons, been consistently finishing in that top 1000, top 2000 range. So yeah, look, I'm no expert by any means, but I enjoy the challenge and enjoy learning each and every year, so looking forward to another big season of fantasy footy. Now we'll take a quick look at my team as it stands at the moment. It's far from the finished product, to be honest. There's still a lot of water to go under bridge, but we'll take a look where it sits currently. So we'll start with the defenders. At D1, I've got the ever reliable Jake Lloyd. I'm pretty confident about him this season. He's one of the most reliable defenders in fantasy footy. He had a bit of an off season last year, which sees him come at a pretty decent price this year. And with Rory Laird available as a mid only this year, I think he has strong claims of recapturing that number one defender status. So yeah, pretty confident in Jake Lloyd. D2, Jordan Ridley at the moment. Look, that spot's really up in the air for mine, as well as the whole backline structure, to be honest. So got Jordan Ridley there at the moment, but that spot could be anyone at this stage. Then I got the three mid-price defenders, which seem pretty popular this season, in George Hewitt, James Sicily and Wayne Miller. And with the lack of rookies there in the back line this year, that could be the way to go, chasing that value in defence. Always comes with a risk, obviously, but that could be the way to go this season. So we'll move on to the midfield. And as my Uber premiums at the moment, I've got Clayton Oliver and Andy Brayshaw there, which is a bit different to what most people seem to be going with at this stage. Clayton Oliver is one that I'm pretty keen on. I think he probably hasn't really fulfilled his full fantasy potential as yet. We know what a superstar he is, one of the best players in the competition, but last year, what a side they are. They're only going to get better. And Oliver, he's still very young, so he's still got heaps of upside, and I think this season he might be able to bump that average up to around that 115 mark, to that elite level. And I think he's one that can really stamp himself as one of the top fantasy scorers this season. Andy Brayshaw there at M2 at the moment. He's one that is a bit similar to Oliver, and I think he can take his fantasy game to the next level. He's been in the comp for less time than Clayton Oliver, but yeah, I think he's one that can really take his game to the next level. We saw last year he looked pretty good, started to score well, became that premium midfielder, and yeah, I'm pretty keen on Fremantle this year. I think they're going to surprise a few people, and without Adam Shearer this year, he's one of the senior figures in that midfield, so yeah, I think he's a great option this year. Then we got our four kind of value midfielders in Dangerfield, Sarong, Crouch and Matt Rowell, so I think that's the way to go in the midfield. Pretty keen on Dangerfield, Matt Crouch especially. I think they're proven fantasy performers and they come at a pretty good price for what they can do. Dangerfield, injury interrupted season last year. He's going to be playing midfield, and as long as he's fully fit and healthy, he can easily hit that 100 average, if not more. Matt Crouch is very, very underpriced for what he can do, and yeah, if he's named round one, he's probably the biggest no-brainer pick. Matt Rowell, he's actually someone that I had last season when he picked him up when he came back from that injury, and to say he was disappointing was an understatement. He struggled to hit 50 each week, so yeah, bit of scars there, but I'm happy to back him in again this year. We know the potential he has that he showed in his debut season. So I think he's a good option to start with. Then we round out with Jason Horne-Francis, Nick Dacos, two of the best young talents in the league, two high draft picks, and I think they're pretty safe bets as to start in your field as rookies this year. So we'll move on to the ruck department, and the combo I'm rolling with at the moment is Brodie Grundy and Sean Darcy. With Brodie Grundy, you know what you're going to get for him. He's been a top 2 ruck for a while now, and he's always a safe option. And I've gone with Sean Darcy over Max Gawn. The reason behind that is I think the two and what they're going to average this year is going to be very similar, and I don't think it's that 120k price difference is enough to justify what they're going to score this year. So I think with Luke Jackson cementing himself in that Melbourne lineup, it kind of changes Max Gawn's centre bounce time, his ruck time, changes his role a little bit. So I think Sean Darcy kind of stamped himself as a top 3 ruck, the next in line behind Gawn and Grundy last season. I think for about 120k less than Gawn, I think he's the way to go. So we'll move on to the forward line. I've got Mitch Duncan there at F1 despite the concerns around his fitness at the moment, but from all reports he's still very likely to line up in round 1, so if he's named I think he's too good of an option to pass up, and I think you have to start with him if he's named, so he'll be there as long as he plays round 1. Adam Treloar is probably the pick of the season in my opinion this season. Comes as a forward, he's been one of my personal fantasy favourite players the past couple of seasons. He's been in my team pretty much every season, so second year at the Dogs, he was kind of just finding his feet last year. He took a while to warm into it, and then he got interrupted by that syndesmosis injury. He had a great grand final, and I think another season at the Dogs will be getting that bit more midfield time, and he's just that consistent 100 guy, and I think as a forward, 731k, pretty good pick in my opinion. Then we have kind of 2 mid-price value forwards in Taron Thomas and Zach Butters. Taron Thomas had a great back end of last season, really started to perform well in that midfield. He's had a couple of seasons under his belt now, and he's primed in a young North Melbourne team to really break out this year, so he's a good option. Zach Butters is one that I'm really high on. A lot of people started with him last year, and he was at a similar price, and he just had that treacherous run of injuries, so he never gained any continuity throughout the season when he got back into that team. And therefore his midfield minutes wasn't where he'd like, but I think this year he'll get that. And he had a great practice match on the weekend against the Suns and looks really good. So as long as he's fit, I think he's a great option. I've thrown in Tyson Stengel at F5. That's probably just me, an overly excited Cats fan, after seeing him snag 4 goals against the Tigers in that practice match the other day. Look, he won't score well. He'll be probably 40-50 range, so don't expect anything more than that. But if there's a lack of rookie options come round 1, could be an option to start with. Then we round it out with Elijah Hollins. Comes in at basement price, looks one of the more serviceable rookies this season and should be playing round 1. So, and all the other rookies on the bench are kind of just placeholders at the moment before we know some more come round 1. So, looking forward to the preseason matches this week. You don't want to change your team too much. The premiums that you got now, there's no reason to change from them based on what they score off a practice game. So you're kind of looking for role, you're looking for fitness, you're looking for rookies that are putting their hand up to start in round 1. You don't want to look too further than that. So yeah, looking forward to it. Next video will either come straight after the preseason matches this weekend or right before round 1, where I'll delve a little deeper into potential team structures, have a look at my overall strategy going into this season, and yeah, hopefully by then I have a more settled and finalised team heading into round 1 that I can go through in a bit more detail. So thanks for tuning in, guys. It would be much appreciated if you'd like, comment, subscribe, leave any questions you have for me in the comments below, and yeah, hopefully catch you next time. Bye, guys.